Hello and welcome to my university project. I've just completed this, however the microphone wasn't working, so here we go again. So we're going to start off with the commits page. I actually just show the total overall file structure in Git. So here's the overall file structure. We have unit tests in a separate folder, but within the same solution as the project itself. So I'll just go back here. We'll go to the commits. So yeah, we have a total of 12 commits. A total of 12 commits across the project, as I did them in bulk little pieces over the time period. So I'm going to start off with displaying the program itself. So here I'm going to start off with running a few commands. So it's circle 40. That was incorrect spelling. So circle 40, we'll draw there, circle 40. So this is essentially my move to command. However, you can do move to as well, but move to here. So we're going to pick a random variable, random coordinate there, and then we're going to do triangle 50. So that's drawn where the mouse position was set. But we can also do move to 100, 100, and then do rectangle 50, 50, and draw a square there. So we have the choice of both. So if I draw to 200, 200, we should get a line through the middle of that. Yep. So now if we go to the next command, so we can do fill on. So we turn the fill mode on, and then we go set our new position over here, and we can do a triangle there. So we'll set another position with the pen as red, for instance, and we can do the same thing there. So we'll do rectangle 50 by 50, and that'll draw that there. And just to confirm that the fill works for circle, I'll just do circle 50 there, just to show that that fills out. Yes, so I will now show the reset command. So once reset, we can go to circle 40, and we'll pop that in there. So that's returned it back to the thing. And now when we hit the clear command, the page invalidates and clears. In this part, I will also show the multi-line code, and then we'll go to the actual code itself rather than going back and forth. So we open the script editor here, so we can either manually enter this and save as of how the text we want it. But in this case, I've already created one. So I'm going to open that. So we'll execute that and draw the house. I had misspelled something there. So we will execute that and draw the house. So that concludes the actual execution of the program. So I will close all the unit test stuff, and we'll start with the actual command parser and the drawing tests. And the drawing handler in my case. So here we have the command parser. I'm getting lost already. There we go. Command parser and the drawing handler itself. So we'll start with the command parser. So with the command parser, we're essentially grabbing the parse command, and then grabbing the argument of the parse command, and then we're going to parse the command string. So essentially, the command in total as it's passed through as command text. So we take the parsed command, and then we split it by the spaces and remove any empty entries. So we're essentially saying here, if the argument, if the command parts is less than 0, basically doesn't exist, then the command is equal to this. The arguments is equal to empty, and then we return nothing. Essentially, that's it. We then take the first part of command and assign that as the first part of command parts. It is the first part of command parts. Then we extract and assign the arguments to that command. Here we then take an array of the command parts, or we create an array of the command parts, iterate over the command parts array, and then add the command parts to the argument list. And then we convert it back to an array. Now that's all it does in here. And then the majority of the handling, I've created a drawing handler.cs. So this is where the parse command is essentially turned to at the end, and this will have the error handling based on if the command is incorrect. So I've created a basic command here, which is an abstract part of an abstract class. So we're essentially saying that that we want the command to execute, but with only these included inside. And the same for advanced command, or graphics command in this case. We're requesting the same thing. So we're just ensuring that these arguments are passed into it. So if I go back to drawing handler, so we created a basic command dictionary with the move to, draw to, fill, reset, clear, and pen command. So that there is the basic command dictionary, and then we've got the graphical command dictionary, which is in charge of drawing the shapes. So here we're just creating the new canvas to draw on, and then we're using the execute drawing function, passing in the parse command, and then it's being checked against this switch statement. So we've got all the switch statements there, which essentially just reference the dictionary so they know where to execute. And then the default of this, so requiring that the parse command wasn't correct, then we'll pass an error message onto the screen for the user. Yeah, and that's the total of the base of the graphics command and drawing handler. Sorry, the command parser and the drawing handler. So I'm just going to close these off to keep things neat. Keep the test explorer open, and then we're going to go to the circle, the triangle, the rectangle. So first off, we'll start with the circle. So for the circle, essentially calling the execute function, we're setting the default values, or passing in the values of the current position, drawing pen, and the command text box. So here, essentially taking the first, if the argument is equal to 1, because that's what we want for circle, we only want a radius. We're essentially assigning the first part of the arguments to the radius, and that's what the try parse is doing. So essentially setting it to the radius variable. We're passing in the current position to ensure that the circle draws from the center of the current position that the user stated. So if we didn't do this, it is most likely that well, it is actually the case that the circle would return to the default position of the canvas itself, and it wouldn't draw where the user requested. So for under here, so this is the fill management. So basically here we have a value that's set in the canvas class called is filling. So essentially turning on the fill or turning off the fill mode. So if the canvas is bearing on the is filling boolean value, we're going to be setting the canvas fill color, or we're taking the canvas fill color, and we're creating a filled ellipse or filled circle in this case based on this calculation. So the x and y we're passing in the default positions or the current position, and then the same again. Actually, based on if its filling is false, then we're going to just draw an ellipse with the outline or a circle with the outline, and then once the command is cleared, and if the command is cleared, in the box, we know that that's successful. If it doesn't clear, we know something failed above here, so that will pass in that we need a valid radius for circle. Obviously, if the circle's spelt incorrectly, then the command parser itself will call that error. So now we'll go to triangle. So this is the one I used OpenAI for because I wasn't quite sure how to get the points of the triangle done correctly. Every time I did it, it wouldn't take the side length the way I wanted it. So here we're just collecting the side points, which is pretty much the same value, but obviously we've got the try parse there to give the side length. The first part of the argument will be the side length. and then we're taking the points and adding those points as the 3 points of the triangle. And then all we're doing is we're checking, is the fill mode on? If not, we're going to use graphics fill color. From the graphics library, we're going to use full polygon. You're going to pass the brush, so that'll be the canvas color, or the pen color, should say, with the points that we've defined, which is based on the side length that's been passed as the argument. Obviously, if that fails, we then draw a polygon without the fill. Exactly the same. Yeah, and then we've just got the error checking to provide the valid side length. I suppose I could have done args.length and with the input try pass, and we wouldn't have had to repeat the error checking, but that's another thing I'll clear up in component 2. Rectangle CS here, so the rectangle class. So again, we're all in the execute function. We're just passing in the same details, but here we're looking for 2 arguments. So we're looking for the length of the arguments to be 2, no more than 2 though. So we were using try parse again, and we're basically taking the first part of the argument and assigning that to the width variable, taking the second part of the argument and assigning that to the height variable, and obviously we're passing in the current position again. Doing the same check for the fill. So if the fill mode is on, the rectangle will be drawn as a filled rectangle from the library, and then if not, the rectangle would be drawn from just a draw rectangle. So draw rectangle is the outline version, fill rectangle the fill version. Width and height has been passed through into both with the error checking. So that's circle, triangle, and rectangle done. So those are what I classed as graphics commands. So they extend graphics command. So now we'll go to what I class as the basic commands. So we'll do the reset, the pen, the position, fill, the draw to, and the clear. So we'll start off with clear. This is the easy one. So we're essentially just saying we're just using the term invalidate on the drawing picture box that we've got. Invalidate in the package is already created, so that'll just wipe the canvas itself. So we'll go to draw to. So here's the one I quite enjoyed doing because we had to return the destination as well. So here we're looking for 2 arguments as we were before, and we're taking the first and the second argument as the x and y value for the line. So what we're doing is we're taking the destination, we're creating the destination, sorry, with a point of x and y, and then we're using the drawLine graphics function, drawLine in the graphics package to go to the destination from the current position. So the current position is then defined as the destination. So we're essentially giving them that, like, I've got to the end of the ladder, I'm now at the end of the ladder, I can go from the end of the ladder again, kind of thing. So we then, once that's complete, we clear the command text box, and that verifies that the command's gone through for the user. Now we'll go to the fill command. So fill was a little bit difficult at first, and then I kind of went through all the code, relayed it to correct it. So we're basically just saying we need the first argument for fill, so either on or off, or the string of on or off. Then we just have a case of setting the isFilling value, which is declared in Canvas, to true, and then set the drawing color set the fill color of the pen color that's already from the pen command. We then have case off, obviously just setting the isFilling value to false. If the user doesn't use on or off, they'll get it'll bring up the error message box, and it won't actually exit the method anymore. That was what I previously wanted it to do. So we'll just remove that, and then clear text box .clear. Yeah, we're just ensuring that the text box is cleared, just to show the user that the command's been completed. For position, so here we have a current position set that's also set inside Canvas. So we're essentially taking the first argument and setting that as the x value, as we were on the other shapes, and then taking the second argument as the y value, and then we're basically setting those points as the current position. And then we're clearing the command text box to show the user that the command's passed. If it doesn't pass, then they'll be requested for valid coordinates. The pen command, so this could be neatened up with a bit of a dictionary or something like that. But essentially, we're just taking the second argument of the pen command, which will be the color, so a string. Either one of these colors. I just added more just to, add a little bit extra to it. So we just got a switch statement for all the colors. And we're just passing through the second argument to check against the switch statement. If the switch statement fails, then they'll be asked to provide a valid color. And then if it doesn't fail, the drawing pen will be set to the new color. And then same for the fill color. So we had to add this afterwards, as I noticed that the fill wasn't actually taking in the color. And then providing that fails, will be asked for a valid color again. And if it is all successful, the command text box itself will clear, showing the user that the command is complete. So reset for me, I've declared 40-40 as my default position. 0-0 was obviously if you start at 0-0 and you have a circle, it will draw off the page. That is not what I wanted, so I figured let's set it to 40-40. That way it'll display to the user a little bit better that it has actually drawn off of the page. Or is drawing on the page, sorry. So yeah, that's the commands as a whole. I'm going to go over the unit tests now. The unit test is what we need. So take the unit tests, get the unit tests open. So I will close off these just to keep everything neat and easy to read. So here we've got the test explorer. So I'm just going to start off by running the unit tests. So just wait for the build to complete. So here we're going to get a bunch of failed commands, just showing that the command that it's failed essentially. However, that's only done it on one, which is the triangle. So yeah. So we'll just go through all them. Those error messages essentially just coming up to show us that because I did it via UI to show the failure from research, and it's not recommended to do error checking or do the unit test on the UI itself. So all I'm inserting there by checking is that the error message itself has come up. So yeah, we'll start with circle, triangle, and rectangle like we had before. So here we're mocking a canvas here. Not in the typical way, but we are creating the canvas. We're passing in for the circle command the argument of 50, and then we're executing that based on that argument. So all we're then doing is asserting that the command text box was empty. Because in the circle command, if you remember, we had command text box clear, which is essentially verifying to the user that the command's cleared. So I've also done that for me. That'll verify that the command box is cleared, which it should have done. So therefore, I can see that's a successful command. Here we're doing the exact same thing. We're creating the canvas for it to work on. We're passing through an invalid radius. In this case, it's a string, so of course it's invalid. And then we're executing it based on that argument, which brings up the error message for us. And it's been pretty much rinse and repeat for this one for triangle, because we're passing in one value. We're creating the canvas itself for it to draw and execute on. We're passing in the values for the command to execute, and then we're saying that the command text box is empty again, just because if it didn't, then the function, we would know the function hadn't completed. And again, we were repeating the exact same thing by passing in a string to what's required an integer. It's obviously showing us that triangle failed error message. Rectangle was a little bit different because we were passing in two arguments, but not much different by the least. We're essentially just passing in the two individual arguments for rectangle command, creating the area for it to execute on, executing it with the arguments, and then we're saying that the command text box has been emptied. We're giving it an invalid width here, and it's just failing on the onset. at the beginning because we're obviously passed in a string where it's expecting an integer again. So it's pretty much the same thing across for the shapes. So now I'll go to draw to and fill. So we'll go draw to. So here we at the end it's expected that the destination is the current position. So all I've done here is set draw to and sorry, started the draw to command in the area for it to execute like we have with the others, and we're asserting that the new point or the new current position is 150, because if the destination to draw to is 150, then the current position should be 150. So providing that it is, then that should pass, and it does. And for here, we've got we're just doing the same again. We're checking an invalid argument, and the error checking is actually done within the function itself. So the draw Q command fails based on it being given a string and not an integer as before. So for fill was a little bit different, but not complicated. So we're essentially just passing the argument of on, and then all we're doing is asserting that the Boolean value of the is filling variable is true by this switch statement turning on. And then again, we're obviously just verifying that it's false or asserting that it's false based on the switch statement off being, or the command off being passed through to it. So we have next to do move to. So again, pretty similar to the draw to. We're passing in the position command, which is the move to command in this case, and we're giving it 100 by 50 as the x and y dimensions. And all we're doing is checking that the current position has gone to 150. And here, all we're doing is checking that it doesn't take the string as the argument, and it fails, which it does. So we've got the parser test. So this was a little bit difficult to try and figure out, but I think the way I've done it is all okay. So we're essentially passing in the draw to command as the command text. So we're saying that the command typed in there, so it's a pass command and argument, and we're basically just collectively asserting that this is what was set as the command, and that's basically just what we're doing. So we're just checking that it takes commands in certain ways. So here we've got like an empty command with no arguments. It's like, what's it going to do there? Well, we want it to not have given any arguments or any command. So all we're doing is checking that the command passed is nothing and the arguments are nothing, and that's essentially all we need to do there. By passing in an empty command text there. So if we so this is a command without arguments. So if we had, like, say, the clear or the reset command, so we're passing in through the clear command. That's going through the command parser, and then we're essentially just saying we're just asserting that there's no value. Oh, so the value's equal. Yeah, and that's pretty much all it is. We were asserting that the value is equal from the first part of the argument, first part of the command. Sorry. And then here we're doing so we've got command with single argument, passes the command with, and then checking it's passing the command with a single argument. So here we've passed in pen red. All we're doing is passing it into the command parser, and then we're just asserting that pen was the command and red was the argument. And that's just my way of checking that these commands have been passed through the parser correctly, and checking the values towards the end. And I think the only one I haven't actually checked is the pen command, clear command, and reset. So those are open. So we'll start with the pen command. We're creating the area for it to draw on. No, we're not, sorry. We're just instantiating the values. We're giving the argument as red for pen command. So that's the argument being passed through. So pen command is being called, and all we're doing is asserting that the canvas drawing pen, which is a value we've defined, is equal to the color.red value. So all we're doing is assuring that. You could do this for more colours, but I feel like it's only required for the one. So for clear, this one was interesting. So at first I tried to do it so we could see if there was no other colour based on the default colour on the canvas, but I couldn't get it to do it that way. That was the way I wanted to do it. So essentially all I've done is done executed a circle command, executed the clear command on the canvas itself. Pardon me. And all we're doing is asserting that the command's been complete by checking that the value of the command text box is empty. Obviously, because that's the final call of the command. Okay, so now we can go back to where was I? The clear command test. So the clear test, here we go. So yeah, here all we're doing is for the clear is checking whether or not the command text box was empty after being called. So yeah, I wanted to obviously check if the color had changed, but I couldn't do that. So the final one is reset test. So all we're doing here is ensuring that the new current position is equal to 4040 because that's what's requested of by the reset command. Obviously for the assignment it's requested 00, but just to make it look a little bit nicer for me, I've done 4040. Yeah, so that is all the unit tests as far as I can see. So the final bit I'm just going to go over is I'm just going to close through these. Let's just clear up my workspace a little bit, make it a bit easier. So I'm just going to view the code for script forms here. So I'll open up the design as well. So here I've created 3 buttons: open, save, and load. So I've just done the actual acting on this within the CS file itself. So I've got an open button. So this is opening the open file dialog, and we're only looking for docx files in this case to put into the rich text area that we've got through WinForm. So it's going to read all the text from the file itself and put that script content in. Sorry, the script text. The script contents are essentially what's within the text file into the script text box. Obviously, if there's any errors, then we'll get the error open in a file. If it's the incorrect file type or something along those lines. Saving file does work, so we're essentially just taking whatever's within the script text box and correcting that. But the bit for me that I enjoyed trying to figure out anyway was here. So I was trying to get mine to split it by line, and it wouldn't do it. And it took quite some time to try and figure it out. But what I did was I essentially created a breakpoint in the code here. So we created a breakpoint there. And when I ran the code, I could then see that the data being passed through was split by \n. So I had originally had a library defaulted next line, and that wasn't working. So I've used \n here because I could see that the script was being passed through with that as the next line. So every break between it is \n, which was quite handy to figure out. And then I'm removing the empty entries. So all we're doing now is we're taking the lines, iterating over the lines with the for each loop, and then executing the command into the command parser line by line, which is actually the best way I thought would have done it, because I thought to have passed it through a different way or maybe created my own handler for it. But actually just giving it to the command parser with the commands already existing worked perfectly. Yeah, so I think that concludes the YouTube video for the program itself, and thank you for watching.